Hey guys, fun episode here. Jacob with Jacob Comics. We're going to be reviewing Batman Detective Comics issue 1067. Super cool ice Mr. Freeze cover. Alright, guys. Now, as always, before we get dived into that, I want to let you know about the 600 subscriber giveaway. When we hit 600 subscribers, we'll be giving this book away. It's a Marvel #1 variant. All you have to do is like the video, comment down below, and be subscribed to the channel. That'll give you a chance to win. Next, we shout out the creative team because without the creative team, we wouldn't have a comic book, right, guys? So in the first portion, we have the writer is Ram V, the artist is Reese, Mickey, and Stewart. And in the second half, the writer is Cy Spurrier with art by Sherman and Filarti. And let's go ahead and get dived in here. Now we're going to be going heavy into spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled for Batman 1067, that's your warning. Now we start with at the end of last issue with Batman and this wolf man creature guy frozen by Mr. Freeze. Now Batman's kind of thinking, how do I get out of this? At the same time, some water comes rushing in and separates the two from the fight. Batman's pretty unconscious, and we see Mr. Freeze drag Batman away. And then we go to one of the new enemies here. It's one of the youngest Orgum, the one that kind of seems to be their leader. And he gives a big speech about how he's gonna usher in an era of using all his money towards benefiting the people of Gotham and bringing it back to the promise and the greatness that it used to have. He finishes as saying, as a symbol of commitment to you, today we begin work on Orgum Place, built in the very same spot where Arkham Asylum lay, and before that the church and town hall around which this great city was built. May it mark the coming of change and rebirth for this once great city. And we see as he's driving away from the speech, the wolf guy is already, there, and he says to him, your mother would have been proud of that speech, Master Arzan. And Arzan replies, my mother would have been unimpressed that I pine on for my dead father. We can dispense with the niceties, Gale. Tell me where the preparations stand. And he kind of shows him, we've got this MacGuffin, and it's going to help us to change the city into whatever we want. And while we're working on this plan, I have masks for everybody. And so he kind of hands the four of them all masks, as you see there. And so all the bad guys get masks now because he says, Batman almost saw my true face before I changed into my wolf form. And so that, no one catches us while we're doing bad things, wear these masks. And then we see that Batman is kind of waking up in Mr. Freeze's lair. And Mr. Freeze says, you play a dangerous game, Batman. In the 6 hours that you lay unconscious, I could have ended you, or watched you descend into painful hypothermic death. Batman says, but you didn't. Mr. Freeze replies, you do have an uncanny tendency to persist. That's far enough, Batman. And Batman says, what is this place? And as we see, there's all these different ice sculptures of his ex. And he says, it is my kingdom of cold, Batman. My frozen dream. And I will do whatever it takes to keep it from the outside world. It was quiet in here, I was peaceful amongst whispers of crystals growing, cracking, forming, until the wolfman came, looking to conscript me to his cause, whatever it might be. With this, an Asmere he called it, and so I give you this first lesson in the battles to come. The enemy can be frozen. And Batman asks, "Why are you helping me, Victor?" And Freeze replies, "I used to think you and I were very different once. When I was trying to save Nora, and you kept getting in the way. But now Nora's gone. She doesn't need me. She says she never did. And here I stand, toiling each night, building statues to the memory of a woman still frozen somewhere inside me. I see you now. I understand. The Dark Knight, who battles each night to preserve his innocent vision of this broken city. Gotham is your Nora, isn't she? In any case, my actions are not entirely unselfish. There, through the access tunnel, is your way to the surface to your city. I hope with this favor done, you will leave me alone, here, in the Undercroft, to my own ends. I am not a threat to you or to Gotham, unless you choose otherwise. Should our parting be civil, I will leave you with this caution. I hear the change coming to Gotham. Footsteps echo in the dark, a quiet growl, where once voices used to be, and music a strange tune in the air. Have you considered that, like Nora, Gotham might not need you once it has broken its chrysalis? Have you given thought to what you must do then? Who you must become? As we see back to Arzen, and Arzen is kind of struggling with his role, and he decides that he wants to do something that he's never been able or had the chance to do before. He wants to try to make a friend, and he decides he's going to show up at Bruce Wayne's house, which is kind of interesting, right? And at the same time as he's showing up to Bruce Wayne's house, the rest of the Arzens are enacting this plan to basically take the Narrows. They want to, I'm assuming, bulldoze the Narrows and rebuild new buildings there, try to make money off it. I'm not quite sure, but they want the Narrows, and they start by exploding it and setting it ablaze, right? And the big part or reveal in this is that the girl from the Orgums, she, like the mother character, if you will, she attempts to go like to Bruce Wayne Enterprises and purchase the Narrows from Bruce Wayne because he owns it. And she puts on the mask, and as you can see here she is, and then she puts on the mask, and all the eyes kind of light up, super creepy. And she goes, "You will sell me the towers and the title for the deeds for the land and the Narrows for a handsome price that will raise no suspicion. You will personally see to the confidentiality and successful implementation of this deal. In a week after the deal is concluded, you will all take well-deserved vacations on yachts and hotels, on island getaways, and there you will kill yourselves. Sleeping pills and slit wrists, lost at sea. When I have left this office, you will be unable to recollect anything that was said through the mask, but you will know and act as per my instructions at all costs. Should any doubts linger in the back of your minds, know this. You have played your part in Gotham's larger destiny. When the sun shines upon the ivory towers of this city, know that their splendor was built upon your bones." As she walks out, leaving them to sell her the stuff and then run off and commit suicide. Yikes. And then Batman's talking with Arzen, and they're both kind of recollecting how they both lost their parents, and before Arzen can get to his point, which he kind of wants to ask Bruce advice about where he should start re- with rebuilding Gotham. Um, Bruce gets a text from Jim Gordon who says, "Tune into the news." Batman looks on the news, sees explosions have rocked. It says here on the news, as soon as he tunes in, it's like explosions have rocked the upper floors of the Thomas Wayne estate towers, and inexplicably, more than half of the tower residents are yet accounted for. Fire department personnel are reporting empty apartments on more than half the floors so far. And Bruce is like, "I'm sorry, Arzen, but I'm afraid we're going to have to continue this conversation another time. Those buildings are still in my father's name. I need to be there. But to answer your question before you go, where do you begin? In the shadow places, at the most desperate hours, where the glorious are loath to tread. So people may yet turn to the sky and draw hope, even from the darkest night." As he jumps to try to rescue as many people as he can from the Narrows and his building that is just completely on fire, as you can see. And that's the end of the front story. This is the last part of the backup story. And to kind of wrap this up, I do want to give you one look here at the panel so you can check out Sherman and Filardi's art, which is also super impressive. Very, very psychedelic. And basically, to kind of cover this without taking up too much time, what's his Two-Face, his normal human person that he's kind of been able to separate himself from the Two-Face identity, decides he's not going to take his sleeping pills this evening, and he wants to have another talk with the crazy side of himself. And through this talk, he ends up kind of seeming to bond with his other half, if you will. And he even says to him as he comes and approaches him and embraces him and gives him a hug, says, "Sometimes in my life, I need you, and I'm sorry for leaving you in the dark." And then he, at that moment, it seems as though in the story, it goes back to the regular story, that Two-Face, the maniac, the bad guy, now kind of has full control of Two-Face again, and that allows him to not hear the song, and by that, he's not able to have the Arzens, Arzen and the Orgums be able to see through his eyes or control him at all anymore. Somehow, the Two-Face persona is more powerful than whatever mind control that the Orgums are using, right? And so that's kind of the resolution of that. Two-Face is back he's a bad guy, and him and Harvey, if you will, have kind of become best friends again, is the best way to put it. And at the end here, you do get that the Two-Face persona comes back around to what it's kind of been wanting to know: who's the bats? And he says, "You owe me." Because he knows that the Harvey Dent identity knows Bruce Wayne's secret identity, and the Two-Face identity wants to know. And it seems as though we are left believing, or you know what I'm saying, we are being led to believe here at the end that that's what's going to happen, is that the Two-Face identity is going to tell his best bro, or the Harvey Dent identity is going to tell his best bro who Two-Face is. And as far as the front story, super super interesting. I'll be honest, it kind of started and I wasn't too interested in the Orgums or what. I was like, really, we're gonna entirely new characters instead of kind of using some of the more famous Batman bad guys. But I've actually really been enjoying how they're introducing these characters. They're very fleshed out, and at least so far, Arzen is very fleshed out, and we're starting to see some of their power sets as well, which makes them a little more interesting also. And I really liked in this issue the ice, or the Mr. Freeze appearance, where Mr. Freeze actually kind of helps Batman out, and that was I've honestly not, and a lot of us too that from the show. Um, Mr. We don't see Mr. Freeze as a fully bad guy. He's kind of this guy that just wanted to save his wife. He had her in stasis, and in the end, like his means towards an end of trying to bring her back to life, he did bad things, right? And so that's why Batman usually had to stop him. But I kind of like this now that there's been some more story told with him. He seems to be moving on from Nora now to a certain extent, even though he's really kind of obsessed with her. But he helped Batman out in this case, and I really like the writing that Ram V's kind of able to weave for the story. I liked how he wrote Mr. Freeze a lot. It was just fun. All right, that's what I have today, guys. Detective Comics 1067 gets a thumbs up. We'll see you guys next time, and have a great day.